All right, everyone. Welcome back. Super excited for this video. I think it's going to be super informative and really in the whole lens in the grand scheme of AI and customer success. Um, and I think over the last, you know, 2 years or so, as CS has fundamentally gotten more AI enabled and AI forward and everything. There's been this need for streamlining how we can make prompting or prompt engineering, if you will, faster and more enabled for our teams. And I remember like a year ago, I actually sort of developed a prompt engineering framework, if you will. And there's many iterations out there which you can find, you can locate of different areas, and it's sort of consistent across tools that you may use. So if it's OpenAI's with ChatGPT, or if it's Google's with Gemini, or even Anthropic with Claude and all the various models, is having that conversation, but the ability to efficiently, repeatedly, and consistently have an outcome that is desired based on the context and the call and what you're looking for. So obviously, us in customer success, we're dealing with calls. Could be escalations, could be development issues, could be product related issues, could be renewal contract issues, could be follow up emails, could be prep. Um, and you want the ability for using these tools to enable you for a better consistent outcome that is in your tone, that is in a persona that you're looking for, and it's giving you the desired income. Because I'm sure we've all been there where maybe it hallucinates, or you sort of go down this rabbit hole of redefining or editing something in your actual initial prompt, and maybe it takes longer than maybe just crafting an email, for example. So, what I kind of wanted to quickly go over today was a framework that I don't want to say I created, but it's basically like an easy to follow framework, I think, on how to set this up for success for you all sort of like moving forward. Um, and I think for customer success individuals, if you're breaking into customer success or if you're already there, AI is here. It's relevant. It's in everyone's day to day, whether you're using Zendesk, Salesforce, Gong, whatever CRM tool, or the ability to have consistent outcomes with your prompting and your messaging is going to make you more efficient, and it's going to make you more enabled moving forward. So let me get into this and sort of like walk you through this a little bit. Okay, cool. So so this framework that I like to reference and use is called PCO. So that stands for persona, context, and outcome. And just so you all know, it depends on your AI tools and your company. I would double check with them if there's an approved tool. Do you have enterprise licenses for certain tools, whatever it may be? So whether it's Claude in this instance, or if it's OpenAI with ChatGPT, whatever you all use, we all use sort of a clear company backed Google protected workspace. So with that is Gemini and their suite of tools, Notebook LM, all a whole different suite of tools. But one of them is this chat interface, Gemini, and it's very useful. You can actually create gems, you can create workflows, different conversations. You can pin them and save them. But this is a good introductory part here, especially as for customer success individuals. So it's persona, context, and outcome. And I just sort of like, hey, just give me this reference sheet to kind of walk you all through it. And it's really, I would say, the gold standard, as you can see here. Instead of generically creating corporate fluff, the PCO forces the AI model to understand the stakes, the audience, and the exact needle you are trying to move. So it could be, again, it could be pre-call. Maybe you're going into a QBR. Maybe you're going into a renewal conversation. Maybe you're going into a product call, a feature call and everything. So maybe you're using the PCO to frame that. Are you a scaled digital CSM? Are you a enterprise CSM? What's your strategy? Are you going into a renewal conversation? So you're giving that like persona, right? So you want to sort of say, like, in this circumstance, maybe it's a highly strategic consultative CSM. But this is where the persona comes into play. Is like, what do you want this to either prep for you? What's the outcome or the conversation? So you tell it as in Gemini or the LLM to give you to act as a persona. That is going to directly influence what it's searching in its database for relevant personas that match what you're looking for. So it's going to scan other strategic CSMs in this space that is going to define how it like communicates and has the email, for example, right? So in this circumstance, I mean, what's the persona? So you're acting as a strategic, consultative senior CSM. You are empathetic, ROI focused, and adept at navigating corporate politics. Your communication style is professional, concise, value driven. And then you can change all of these, but this just kind of gives you a quick reference point because I think the longer the acronym, the harder. If it's 4, 5, 6, it's harder to kind of follow. I like the PCO because it's quick. It's initial 3 letters. And for me and my team, which I've kind of helped, is it allows them to focus on like, okay, just like quickly, like define the persona, define the context. And I also think the context is like, what is the call? Is it a renewal call? And it's also like, do you have articles? Do you have their previous contract? Do you have their like notes, the call transcript from the previous call? So you're also feeding in context. Are you referencing a escalated email? So you put in that email or that Zendesk issue or something. So you're adding as much context as you can. And that's to where too, like you have this little plus. So if you have anything from your drive, if you have a notebook LM, you can also upload files as well. So that's really a key spot too for the context. So you're working with this client in this industry using platform and the goal renewal escalating. So you want to give that they're at risk. What's their health score specifically? Specificity as well here. And what's the outcome? Are you looking for a briefing that you can share with your internal teams? Are you looking for a save plan that you can share with your manager? Are you looking for just a spreadsheet that you can export here to a Google Sheet and it sort of gives you action items or projectized next steps? Or are you just looking for an outreach email, next steps, post call, right? So this is really where the outcome comes into play. Because like if not, you're not giving guardrails and parameters to your outcome, which again is going to send you down the rabbit hole of more redefining, reprompting, and re-engineering here, which isn't going to be a time saver. You're going to get an output that like in your mind you knew, but you didn't define it, right? So you want maybe in this end you want a call, right? So it's a call engagement, for example, right? You're acting as the senior enterprise CSM. You're giving the context. I have an alignment call with the director of IT. This is all made up. They finished onboarding 3 months ago, but active usage has plateaued. And maybe you have emails from them. Maybe you have a success planning call, document or a slide deck that you can share. Maybe you have some open tickets that you can actually feed into here. So that context is also going to be important. So create a 30-minute call agenda and 4 powerful open-ended discovery questions, right? With a goal. So, and it has all these examples too. And you can have these, pro tips as well, which I think are powerful. It's like no fluff, guardrails. And you can also define to like your own persona. You can say like, here are 3 of my previous calls that I've had with this client. Please use my tonality, phrasing, and how I speak when you're creating an email. Because we all know too, like whether it's the M dashes or the common AI phrases, or it's just overly wordy and written, it doesn't sound like you as well. So that's the context piece as well. You can add in your own sort of tonality based off of call transcripts, and they can kind of view that, the AI, to even much more closely match your persona and how you actually communicate as well. And this again applies to Claude. You can do the same sort of methodology, right? So To call follow-up, plug in the call transcript with your context, with your persona, give it a persona and an outcome that you're wanting. A prep document, okay, great. Have the contract in there, have your internal communications. If it's an escalation, put all the relevant information in there. The more you get that and the more you have that defined, the better. And then this will be sort of this repeatable cadence that'll make you much more faster, much more efficient, much more enabled. And after you do 3 or 4 of them, it'll become much more clear the outcome and like what you want in there as well moving forward. Cool. So hopefully that was useful. Again, that was just a quick little like, neat and dirty like overview of the PCO sort of like method. And again, you can look up any sort of acronym or method on prompt engineering for yourself. And obviously these are very, very specific to, customer success and what you're driving at, as we all do, the pre-call prep, the post-call, the analysis, the all these areas, the renewal conversation, the expansion, the save planning, right? All of these are going to be relevant. And the more you do these, the more you get comfortable with using these and the more connected you get with these, the faster you're going to get with these and you're going to become much more efficient and much more enabled moving in the future. So if you liked this video, I'm going to try to post these a little bit more frequently. So definitely subscribe, follow, like, comment, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you, everyone.